we sought out and we found a vendor that was able to do a touch screen for us. This screen can be submerged in water and taken out and touched. It'll work. It's got a fan behind it. It can work to 140 degrees. It's got a little lid on it to keep water off. And tonight's the demo. There's only been a few people that have seen this, and they've been random hikers. As we've been demoing, or as we've been testing it, random hikers have come by, and they've all been blown away. So here's our introduction. This is the screensaver. So after 2 minutes of idle use, this will be on, kind of in respect of the dark sky environment we're trying to accomplish up here. And it'll be on 24/7. And if a hiker comes up, they'll say, oh, here we go. What is this all about? This is our home screen. Home screen shows that we've got sponsors. The main buttons are along the bottom, and coming events are on this side. And people, we hope, will right away start with the coming events, and they'll do that. And oh my goodness, Poland Mountain
No sound. There will be sound.
There will be sound on this screen. So that just goes on a loop, and to return, you go back here, and we're on the main screen. The main purpose of this is the first button, which is choose your hike. And this was a labor of love for a few of us who have GPS equipment. And on here, an individual just touched that screen to choose a hike. But first it says, people come up here for a lot of reasons. They hike, they run, they do photography, they do a number of things when they come up here. And there's a lot of trails. And we have we have hiked 20 different routes that are most commonly used, 20 routes. And we're going to display those. So we can sort these 20 hikes by distance, elevation, or gain per mile. Now our experienced hikers will pick gain per mile because that's kind of a difficulty thing, but most people will use distance and time. And they'll touch distance and time, and all 20 hikes are displayed here from 1.6 miles to the longest trail, which is 9.6 miles. But let's say someone wants to do 6.5 mile hike, about 3 hours. They just have to touch 6.5 mile hike. That hike will be outlined for you. Nice. That map is outlined. You can send this to your phone and take it with you. Wow. Or you can take a map. The maps are going to be moved over here. You can trace it on your map, whatever you like. There's always a back button to go back. Oh man, that one, I don't like that loop. I want to do something else. They go back. Let's do this one. Summit 4, which is a hike to the 4 highest points from here to Sunset to Bronco, or to China Wall to Bronco to Butte Peak and back. It's outlined for them. Again, they can send it to their phone.
Excuse me, what's the app on the phone?
It's not an app. That's a good question.
I'm just reading that little.
Yeah,
So, go ahead, Sharon.
you just need to put your camera up. You just turn on your camera. Mine will work because I have, okay, so
I
you
got
just
it.
go like this.
Yeah.
And it'll launch a Safari page.
Okay, so no app needed.
No
app
app
needed.
Excellent.
Once you get the Safari page, you need to email it to yourself.
Yeah.
And we're going to have internet access. We have internet access up here. Like all of our restaurants, it's free Wi-Fi for our members. And we'll have instructions here on how to get to the Wi-Fi that's here. So the app works. Every map, all 20 maps have the scan. So you can go through 20. They're all here. All the detail is here. The highest elevation of the hike, the total gain, the gain per mile. How long will it take at 3 miles an hour, 2.5, and 2 miles an hour? We usually say 2 miles an hour is a casual pace, stopping for a snack and stopping for pictures, and that'll give you the time it takes there. So whatever you elevate, or whichever sort you pick will be highlighted. So elevation gain, that's now highlighted. Now, our hikes range in elevation gain from 350 feet, which is the Grapevine Wash, right down below, right around, to the most elevation we have. Oh, sorry guys. 2,403 feet of elevation gain if you do what we call the Desperado Trail, and that's the full perimeter.
Wow.
Okay.
I've not done this. And that's how many miles, Craig?
That's 6.5 miles, or 9.6
9.6.
9.6 miles.
What's the hiking time?
hiking
Depends,
time
it takes
on
me 3.5 hours.
about 3 miles an hour is 3 hours, and 5 hours at a pretty casual pace. So all 20 of these hikes are active, mappable, and sendable to your phone. So that's, I don't want to take your whole,
Is that your data?
I don't want to take your whole evening up here. So we also get a lot of questions about how hard are these trails? And you know, it's really difficult because we're all so different. So we have a word about difficulty. And here, I'm not going to read it to you, but really it's individual. It depends on your level of fitness and the temperature out and a host of things. So what's difficult for Troy is easy for me. We're all so different, right?
I would say if any of you have guests who come from out of town, one of the things that we've learned, because we're originally from the Midwest, they need a day or two to acclimate to our elevation here, so they shouldn't hike that first day that they're here.
So thanks, Sharon. And so there's other things. So this question and comments, I'll come to later. Actually, I want to go through some other things. Our weather is tied to the Desert Mountain Weather app. So whatever the Desert Mountain app, we can't get weather up here. There's no station up here, and so it's still Broadway in New York. We're testing. I'm gonna have, it's going live tomorrow, so I got to get that changed, obviously. But this is scrollable, and we can see the map, and it'll be up here, by the way. We'll get it fixed, and then the forecast. So the weather will be available for us. Trail facts. This is an item where most of the questions come from. I'm not going to read them to you. You can kind of scroll through these, but somebody on every hike always asks one of these questions. It just puts them in front of them, and we don't necessarily have to go hiking with them. But in addition to that, we have some sub-buttons. For example, people say, what species might I see? Here, these are the species you're going to see up here, right?
Wow.
And actually, Troy, don't we have these somewhere, right?
Yeah.
These
Yes,
last
there's a
thing,
little
yeah.
folder.
Yes, Desperados, when they join, they usually get one, foldable one of these. So we'll go back, and Club 86, we'll talk about that. A lot of people up here have hiked all of our trails a lot, but as soon as you hike all 20 of the hikes we prescribe, you get to, and you gain 23,000 feet of elevation on those 86 miles. You get to join Club 86, and we've got 4 people.
4 people?
4 people already have done it, and I'm looking at James because
I'm
he asked me
working on
for
it.
my spreadsheet several months ago. And I'm going to get that. And I don't see your name up there.
I'm coming.
So is this an honor system here?
Yes,
I don't
it's
see-
honest.
It is. It is the honor system. Yeah. Okay.
We've done a lot. Now we'll have-
Suggested hikes. This is
Well,
I haven't done
Audit
it
our-
like 21.
Unsuggested hikes. What's the best hike for sunset? What's the best view of Desert Mountain Community? If you touch that, you get the map. You can scan it, send it to your phone, come back. You can see this hike, our Apache Skyline hike to the bench, is the best view of the Desert Mountain Community. That'll be available for you. Again, we took a whole bunch of hikes and put them on here. The best short hike, the typical hike for the moonlight hike, right? That's coming up in a couple weeks. This is what we usually do for the moonlight hike. We go up the China Wall. Now Cheryl won't get lost anymore. Cheryl's been doing the moonlight hike for, I don't know, years.
Yeah, but she's missed the last couple months.
she'd
Like,
never
she had to
get
get
lost.
married or something.
When is that, Craig?
The moonlight hike?
The moonlight hike.
What day is
It's, well, it's
21st?
22nd. Yeah.
22nd.
November.
Are you doing it this month?
Yeah.
Yeah, Wendy's doing it this month. Okay.
She's
You're hosting, you're leading.
Thanksgiving?
No, I don't think I am. It's usually like 2 days before the full moon. It's a couple days before the full moon. But-
So if you send your photos in to Allie, and I'll show you how to do that, we can put them in a rotation here, and they'll scroll through for you.
That's cool.
It's kind of a fun.
Yeah.
Good job.
Yeah.
Great.
Wow.
All right, I'm not done.
Good try.
So compare trails. So people get up here. All right, I'll go quickly. A lot of people ask, how do our hikes compare to other local hikes? And we've got the statistics for our hikes compared to Pinnacle Peak, Thompson, Black Mountain, and Belpass. Okay, so it's just numbers comparison. And then a lot of folks say, who are these crazy desperados? And we're really just outdoor enthusiasts who like the company of one another. That's here. We scrolling through some photos. That pages through. The last button we have is our donors. So the trails are built through volunteer donations. No, the club doesn't help us with the trails particularly. They help us with maintenance and some other things, but it's all just coming out of our pockets. And we do programs like this tonight through Desperados, and here's a list of the Desperados, 129? 129 of us.
So far.
Our capital funding campaign, we haven't even kicked it off yet, and we already have folks that have contributed in these different categories, and everybody's welcome to up their category if they like. So we haven't even kicked it off, and this is the kind of donation.
Desperados a registered nonprofit?
We are.
Yes.
Okay.
Correct.
1031?
Yep.
Yep. I think that's a good question. So capital funding, we're a 501c3, and then we also list the original founders of the trail system. Of course, Troy
Bob.
Gillenwater and Bob Borsch are
Bob, here?
the fathers of this trail system. And they're the visionaries of what we've done here, and they're listed first. And the rest of us are here, and then a lot of folks have donated to build the Ramadas, and that's those folks.
And actually, these names here are on the, as you walk through this area here on the.
And then the last thing I have is Bubble has been apparent on all the screens, and if you touch that, if you have comments or questions or want to join or want to donate, you bring your phone up to here, and this will launch an email to Ally. The subject line will be filled in, and the to line would be filled in. You just need to fill out the rest of your note, and you can send your comments and join Club 86 in the honor system.
Yeah. Coming soon. Wow.
And coming soon, this information is going to be put on or most of this information will be put on the Desert Mountain website as
The
well.
club website.
They're not quite in sync with us. We're a little advanced for them, but but here we are. So you go back, go home,
Very cool.
and that's the
You wanna show
interactive trail guide.
The campaign. Where's the picture of the campaign?
Oh, thank you, Sharon. So the campaign is here. So we haven't kicked it off yet. We haven't even asked for a donation, but people have been generous, and this is how we're going to display our progress on the campaign.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Very cool.
This will be available to all hikers. It's going to be on 24/7 as soon as we leave. So I hope you think this is exciting for our.
Very exciting. This will be fun, 'cause next week we have our group up there. How can we?
There we go.
That's, yeah.